Hi, folks. We had a lively first guest, and I think the next guest, Mike Skott, will be just as lively. Here's hoping. My wife Cindy is obsessed with your topic. Mike is the founder of TalkSkyWI.com. He's into chemtrails. Mike, are you there?
Yes, sir. Can you hear me?
Yep, sure can. Look,
Thanks
Mike, you sent
me
me your article, The Power Elite, which finally I got today. I want to save that to the end. It's information I'm aware of, but I want to go just to chemtrails right now. You claim, this is your claim, chemtrails are hazardous to our environment and ourselves. First of all, how are they hazardous to our environment?
Well, I think Cliff Carnicom's done some great work on this. He's been around since, I think, about '89 doing this, and he's documented, especially out in California where he lives, in that area, that the trees are just dying and the bark's falling off, and he's really documented a lot of ecological things that's just happening to our environment because of this stuff that they're putting in our atmosphere.
That's it? All right.
What?
Look, where I live, the sky is crisscrossed with, they have to be chemtrails. Normal jet planes don't leave these X's and O's in the sky. But are you just saying you have nothing more than somebody wrote about trees dying?
Well, it's documented by Mr. Carnicom exactly how bad it's been to the environment, and it has an effect also on humans. It has an effect on animals. I think we're seeing that.
What effect?
We're take a look at cancer. Cancer rates. When I was a kid, about 1 in 30 got cancer. Today, it's almost 1 in 2. It's almost 1 in 2. It's definitely 1 in 3. What's happened? Our environment's been just radically changed, and not for the better. And I personally feel that it's been done on purpose.
Well, I've heard the theory, I've heard it a lot, by the way, that the chemtrails are to reflect the sun back because, frankly, our environment is heating up from all kinds of carbon burning, frankly, and this kind of prevents that. What do you say to that counter-argument?
Oh.
Why don't they tell us is the answer, but what do you say to it?
Well, this whole carbon thing is just such a joke. And
it's not a joke. It's choking the planet. The seas are rising. The acidity is rising. I wouldn't call it a joke.
Well, when you have something that actually is 0.5% of our atmosphere, that's minuscule. That's minuscule. And they say,
really believe that, huh? The fact that
science has shown that
CO2 is immensely more toxic than in small amounts, let alone what we're dumping out of our chimneys and houses, is all right. Fine.
Yeah. Like Barry, back, I forget, it's about 212 or something about that time, up there in Iceland, a volcano erupted, and it spewed a century's worth of carbon right into the atmosphere. And we're fiddling around.
And I recall no airplanes could fly to Europe for like 2 weeks.
Exactly. It was that bad. And we're doing with our little efforts here to try to get the carbon footprint down, and boom, a century's worth of carbon goes up into the atmosphere.
In other words, what you're saying is chemtrails are not to reflect the sun back and preserve the environment. Secretly, mind you, but nonetheless, that would be the plus side.
The the chemtrails have definitely dimmed our atmosphere. Recent pictures of the Earth compared to pictures like 20 years ago, we kind of got a mucky atmosphere these days. There's much less sunlight, and yeah, they're doing their job there. But the whole thing's a total hoax, Barry. It's just a total hoax, and it's all put on by the same people that bring all these wars. That
no, we'll get to that at the end. That's the
yeah.
punchline, Mike. That's the punchline.
We won't punch them.
We'll get to the power elite. You're not the first person who said this, and we'll get to it. Now, how are these? And by the way, you can't see stars the way you used to see them.
Right.
Just an observation.
It's true. And, down there you have a lot of chemtrail activity. In my my article there that I put up on the net, I put two examples of just these death jets blowing this stuff in the atmosphere right here in Union Grove, Wisconsin. And it's nasty stuff. It just spreads out. And people can kind of tell if you're, and I encourage everybody, just start looking up. Just start looking up, because something's getting pulled over our eyes because we're just too busy, or too entertained, or too whatever, maybe too beat down to even look up. But we need to start looking up and looking around.
Well, some people don't remember when the skies were clear. All right, you got kids growing up to the. All right.
That's true. And things are, if people would just look up, I think they would absolutely be astonished at what's happening in our sky.
Well, people of my generation would be. I'm worried that a new generation is coming in, and this is what their skies look like.
Well, the new generation's been totally sold on this so-called carbon footprint and all this other stuff.
Well, so am I, just so you know. All right? So we don't get things mixed up. But I am also very concerned when I look up in the sky where I am, which is not far from Cape Canaveral. I can see activity that I never used to see. All right, day after day, by the way, nonstop.
Yeah, it's amazing what's going on in our skies, and people just have to start looking up and start asking questions. And holding.
Who are we going to ask? The Air Force?
Well, exactly. I've tried to hold the Speaker of the House here in Wisconsin to say something. He says I don't see it. The governor won't talk to me, and so I just, after a while, I just says, well, I'm just going to throw something on the net and just make my voice heard, no matter how few views I get. I just felt an obligation to my fellow citizens to show what's going on here. And I would just like everybody to ask, what in the heck is going on up there, and what is it? And we want some answers, because it's happening, and it's amazing that nobody talks about it. Nobody of any consequence.
It's amazing there are no answers, basically, because no one is asking the questions. I'm not sure. But I have a partner who really doesn't like chemtrails, and she's got me involved in their danger. What, besides cancer, are they doing to us?
There, something that's very, very sinister in this thing that's not talked about very much is that they're actually going for total mind control of the entire world population.
How?
You can go over to what's her name here? When you want something, you can't find it. She's Deborah Tavares, and if you listen to some of her stuff, she's had people on that actually speak about how they've perfected a way that they can actually have a unique number in some of these chemtrails that they're dropping. It's fibers. There's fibers that we're full of fibers. We actually, according to her, we all have Morgellons disease, and that's some people
Which
react
disease? I'm sorry, which disease?
It's called Morgellons disease.
I've never heard of it. What does it do?
Well, basically, what happens is there's fibers that are getting intertwined in us from all these chemtrails. They're literally building fibers in us, and in fact, according to some researchers, they're actually building a separate GNA, not a DNA, but a GNA, and it's based on
what's a GNA?
It's a glass-based, and they're building like a DNA, but it's out of glass. It's some kind of glass. Anyway, the base thing is glass. Now, since they can actually put a unique number on anything that breathes this stuff in.
You said number. What do you mean by number?
Well, basically, they can produce parts of these fibers that actually carry on their own unique identity. That would be a better thing. And they can be tracked. And they can make different identities out of this. And so they can literally, when this gets ingested, inhaled, and it becomes part of your body, you have a unique identifying, let me not say number, but whatever you want to call it, a sign or whatever. It's unique. And
who uses this? By the way, this is not a small concept. You're saying they're filling the skies with something that gets in our lungs and does something. I don't know what you're talking about. I have to be frank.
Well, actually, you've heard of nanoparticles and nano machines.
I can guess what they are. They're real small.
Yeah, it's used a lot in medicine these days. They'll actually have nano machines that they'll inject in people, and they can take poison to a direct place where there's a cancer and stuff like that, and target it and kill it, stuff like that. It's called nanotechnology, and this nanotechnology that they're talking about, and it's cutting edge. It's real cutting edge stuff. But I'm going to give you guys you wonderful people, one website in just a second while I call it up here. This guy's done a lot of.
Mike, I'm losing you. You have a website that we want to promote. Let's not get lost here. All right, you know what? This is the perfect time. Tell people how to get a hold of your website. Okay,
it's Toxic Sky, and then my state, WI, ToxicSkyY.com. And I kind of like that because I can put that in 4 Burma shave signs and throw them out in front of my house. I have a long enough lawn to do that. And
all right, folks,
ToxicSkyY.com.
ToxicSkyWI.com. If you didn't catch it, we are archived for a whole week at LibertyArchives.com. That's LibertyArchives.com, and you'll catch it there. Look, there are things going on that I could... Look, I don't have the proof, but there's a lot more diabetes. A lot more. 1 and 2 than when I was growing up.
Yes. Diseases are just off the charts.
All right.
It's a very toxic environment that we're in these days.
Look, I'm not going to go overboard, but we are getting older. We're living longer. maybe you just get this stuff when you live longer.
That could be an answer. But the stuff that's in the atmosphere, the different things that they're finding is just not the way it used to be. And in fact, the food is suspect. Another thing is that the United States is the only country that hasn't implemented laws to ban this food that's been altered. It's been
talking
altered.
GMO?
GMO, thank you. I'm an old man at 68. I'm
older than you. And
all right.
And I remember when food did taste better. A damn tomato doesn't taste like it used to taste.
No, it don't.
But if you're a kid, you don't have these memories. So
no, you don't. No, you don't. Just us old geezers that are trying to hang in there and try to make a difference, right, Larry?
Oh, look, when it comes to the food, there's no question. It used to be McDonald's was better 40 years ago. Right.
Yeah. They didn't have all this genetically modified stuff that, like the FDA, they'll put something under for a half a year. They'll test it. But if you go to Dr. Blaylock's website and you download some of his stuff, he talks about if you take that test out to 2 years, all of a sudden these mice are getting horrible cancer.
From what?
Horrible cancer.
From what?
From the genetically modified foods. One half a year isn't enough.
That would ban that? If in fact if it's a direct link to cancer, isn't there an agency that would step in?
Well, the agency is supposed to step in. We had the Federal Food and Drug Administration, but basically that's just a bless me cub between the food and drug manufacturers and the FDA. I mean, you just switch board members with all the time. It's if you're looking for a fair appraisal of your food from the FDA, it's totally sold out. It's just not really reliable at all.
I would get some criminal, very serious charges against him to eat nothing but McDonald's just to see what happens.
That would be mean, Barry. You wouldn't want to do that.
All right, then. I'm telling you something straight off. I don't eat what I used to eat. I don't eat McDonald's, Wendy's, of this stuff anymore.
Yeah, in fact, McDonald's sales has gone down, and one of the big things they say is it's just not healthy food, and people are actually thinking healthier these days. And, so then, McDonald's isn't quite what it used to be, no.
I went to Chipotle. Listen, Chipotle somehow got taken off the market for whatever bacterium they were spreading to the public. But the fact remains there may be other things besides chemtrails that are real hazardous to human beings. Now, you've got a site, well, what you claim, this is a tough claim, really, that chemtrails mark and identify every human being on the planet. That's
the aim. That's the aim.
Well, it's not easy to... All right, how would they do such a thing? I know the nanoparticles and whatever, but you've got 7 billion people.
Well, the supercomputers can track all that stuff. That's no big thing for the supercomputers that governments have. I mean, they're super fast, super huge, and that's not really a big number for them to handle. Not at all. But the aim is actual mind control of the population.
If you go to another country, I don't know, India, Zimbabwe, it doesn't matter. Are you going to see airplanes, jet planes in the sky making beautiful patterns, leaving white tracks in their trail? Is this everywhere?
Just Google it. It made my jaw drop. You're going to find it in Russia. You're going to find it in Serbia. You're going to find it in China. You're going to find it in India. And in fact, that is how pervasive this thing is, and nobody's big enough to stop it. I'd just like to know what it is. Nobody wants to answer that question.
Well, I gave you the theory, the good
on.
theory. The good theory is to reflect the sun and save the planet. That's the good theory. I and Cindy don't buy into that.
Mm-hmm.
That's all, nothing more.
I know that was proposed a long time ago to do that. But, why don't people just come forth and say, yeah, this is what we're doing? No, they don't even talk about it. You can't even get them to talk about it. The two political parties that are supposed to be running this country won't even talk about it. It's an unwritten rule that you will not talk about this, period. Why? Because it points at someone else who really does run things. But
and everyone buys into this unwritten law?
Well, if you're going to be part of the two major political parties, you will not talk about chemtrails. You won't talk about genetically modified food, any of this stuff. I hate to use the word conspiracy, but I'm going to use the word conspiracy.
No, you can use it all you want with me. I'm easy. Look, the second half of the show, we're going to dive. I know who the power elite are. You can't fool me. But what the heck? We're going to dive into who is making us breathe in chemtrails. And I'm not sure. If you know why, let me know, okay? But, folks, my guest so far has been Mike Skott. All right. His website is toxicskywi.com. You know what? I'm going to plug me right now. Well, all my books are at lulu.com. That's www.lulu.com. There's a search box right in my last name. Chamish. Chamish. That'll get you to my books. My website is chamishba@gmail.com. That's Chamish, and B is for Barry. chamishba@gmail.com. I have lots of DVDs, CDs, and books. And finally, David Samron is keeping my website alive. That is www.barrychamish.com. All right, Mike, now I don't have to ruin the next half, where we're going to dive big time into the article that you sent me that got me writing you. And once again, we're going to find out who the power elite are and why are they sending jet tankers to flood our skies with poison every day. Mighty big statement here.
I couldn't have said it better.
You did say it. All righty. Folks, I'm saving. Now it's a matter of timing. I'm not sure I want to start with the ruthless cabal of outlaws, but we are going to go through the cabal. And look, for those who've never heard of this cabal, you're in for a treat. And for those who have, you get it rehashed very, very adequately by Mike. So stick around. 3 minutes. We're taking a break. Mike, stay on the line for 3 minutes, and away you go on the cabal that's doing this to us. All righty. We'll see you in 3.
We'll be
this is
hanging
very challenging.
Years ahead of the dominant media, FirstAmendmentRadio.com and FirstAmendmentRadio.net. Visit crosstheborder.org, CROSS, crosstheborder.org, to get your print, EPUB, or PDF version of the book, The Rapture Will Be Canceled. That's crosstheborder.org.
I know you all want answers, and believe me, so do I, and I'll do my best to get them.
Despite Nicolas Cage's promise to do his best to get left behind rapture answers for us, don't hold your breath. Not everyone believes Left Behind is true prophecy. Some may even regard as conspiratorial the mainstream re-release of the Left Behind movie with actor Nicolas Cage portraying the main character as an attempt to further reinforce in the minds of all this perception of false prophecy, in order to condition the masses for the play about to begin. If you want true Bible prophecy answers, get the book, The Rapture Will Be Canceled. The author exposes the Latin rapture origin, the 7-year tribulation deception, true Bible revelation of Daniel's 70 weeks, the abomination of desolation, the restrainer, America in the Revelation, the image of the beast and the mark of the beast, and the truth about God's chosen people, and so much more about Bible prophecy. This book will shatter the left behind paradigm of future events. Get the book, The Rapture Will Be Canceled. Visit crosstheborder.org, CROSS, crosstheborder.org, to get your print, EPUB, or PDF version of the book, The Rapture Will Be Canceled. That's crosstheborder.org.
Gold and silver is tremendously undervalued. Global demand vastly exceeds mine supply by more than 60% annually. There is little in the financial world more certain than a coming explosion in the prices of gold and silver. The U.S. dollar continues to lose value and respect as the world's reserve currency. Our nation faces challenges on many fronts, and a day doesn't pass without another economist bringing forth warnings of impending economic calamity. There has never been a better time than right now to acquire physical gold and silver. Discount Gold and Silver Trading was founded on the principles of truth and honesty. We believe in providing a quality product, quality service, and most importantly, competitive pricing. We provide all forms of precious metals, including American gold, silver, platinum, and rare investment and circulated coins. Silver bars, rounds, and 90% silver bags are on hand for the silver investor. Gold self-directed IRAs are available. Call Discount Gold and Silver Trading at 1-800-375-4188. Toll free, that's 1-800-375-4188.
Hey, folks, we got a very, Mike Skott is our guest. And Mike, your first claim into our last half hour, and by the way, boy, do I relate to this, that the media in this country is totally owned, and this is your quote, by a ruthless cabal of outlaws masquerading as decent, honorable people. They're busting me financially, let me tell you. All right, who are these outlaws? I want to get them.
Yeah, they've been around for quite a while. Way back when Germany was rebuilding, there's a book by Anthony Sutton. It's called Wall Street and the Rise of Hitler. It shows how American corporations actually made compacts with German corporations and literally built Germany up.
Listen to my first guest when this show ends. Go to libertyarchives.com. My first guest covers that very well.
Yes. So they've been around a long time. They financed Hitler. They financed his criminal party, brought him to power. And when it was time, they told Hitler, all right, you're going to start acting weird, and you're going to throw this war. And he did.
That's a very different interpretation. You're talking about, look, there was a war, and I don't think he was trying to lose it.
Well, I really think he was obeying orders from that same bunch of guys, I'll call them monsters, I hate to call them human beings, that really run things on this planet.
Well, look, we discussed this before, that the Nazis were given their oil by, Rockefeller, Nelson Rockefeller, and Standard Oil, and all that. That was before, and it's pretty bad stuff. But once again, who are the cabal of outlaws? Certainly wrecking my life. They're doing a fine job. Who are they? And don't say that they were backing Hitler. Maybe yes, maybe no. Who are they in America right now?
Oh, Mr. Rockefeller's one of them. You know.
No, he's dead.
Well, there's a bunch of Rockefellers out there. His descendants are still alive.
I
know that.
Name one.
Rockefeller. What's his first name?
No, name a descendant who is part of this cabal of outlaws. Name one.
Nelson Rockefeller.
He's dead.
Is he dead?
He died 30 years ago.
Really?
Oh, gosh. Yeah, really.
No, what's the Rockefeller? Can I Google it? That's alive today that runs things. Rockefeller.
Well, if you had to, you could name Lawrence Rockefeller. You know, there are names, but not with the... All right. Let's jump all the way to apparently the era you like best. President Kennedy, all right? Now, this is something... He gave a speech, and you've got it on your web to listen to the speech. What did he say?
Oh, by the way, it's David Rockefeller. Basically, he spoke to the press club at that time, and he spelled it right out. There's a secret cabal that don't show themselves. They use covert means of doing things. They do things by night rather than by day. They don't just confront you, but they're stealthy little devils, and I'll call them devils. And they do their stuff behind the curtain. And while nobody sees them, they're still there, and they're still calling the shots.
Oh, he went farther than that.
Well, Barry, you can continue. You're probably more well-versed than I am.
He named that they were trying to formulate a new world order. That came from President...
Yes. Yes, he did. And he was trying to warn them, and he said, I want the press to be open and to examine this administration and shoot straight, and we want to answer tough questions, and we don't want to hide them. Well, he was dead in just 2 more years. They took him out.
Why?
Well, he did some things. Number one, the Fed, which is a total joke. It's a privately owned corporation that we don't even know.
You mean the Federal Reserve?
Federal Reserve, thank you.
Right.
And it's he started printing greenbacks. Had the own federal government start printing greenbacks, and he was going to kick the Fed out of their place. You know, they're only federal in name. They're not really a federal agency at all. And there are no reserves in the Federal Reserve. It's a total joke. They make money out of nothing. We can go on and on about that. But he was going to just kick them out. And then he
and replace them with what? What would be the central bank of the United States then?
The United States has the right to coin their own money. And way back in the 19-teens, they actually got the government, those in power at the time, to pass this Federal Reserve Act. And it's...
Teens would have been Woodrow Wilson.
Yes, yeah. And he had a handler. He had a handler. And he was kind of a puppet, really. But they passed this thing through, and the Federal Reserve has been bilking us ever since. I mean, you know, our money's worth, what, about a nickel on a buck compared to 100 years ago? It's just terrible. We could go on and on and on about that. But it's
Well, how do you
privately
know
owned.
Kennedy was going to abolish the Federal Reserve?
I
He
could give
didn't
you,
say that in his speech.
I could give you chapter and verse where people are quoted as saying that was his aim, and that's what he, at least privately, said. And they took him out. He offended them, and they were afraid of him. You know, he was supposed to be just a nice little boy who's going to mind his own business and just do what they tell him, and he didn't. And that's just not allowed. You just don't cross these people, or bad things happen.
Well, first of all, for my listeners, in a month's time, Phil Nelson, who wrote, well, he claimed that Lyndon Johnson knocked him off. He'll be on the show in a month. Something to look forward to. Now, why else was he knocked off?
Well, there's a person by the name of George H.W. Bush, who was...
Is he any relation to the president?
This president right now?
Sure. Okay. Now, what did George Bush say?
Well, basically, he was a part of this conspiracy. He would wind up in government and holding different places in government. He was the head of the CIA for a while, and it's been shown that he was there at Dealey Plaza, and he was integral and part of this conspiracy. He's murdered a lot of people, assassinated them. He's a very wicked man.
And I take it he would be part of the cabal.
Yes, he's a part of the cabal, but he's not at the top. He's nowhere at the top, but he's like a chief henchman for the cabal.
Now, you're missing the one motivation to knock off Kennedy, and I'm not sure where you got this quote. He was planning to, your quote, tear the CIA into 1,000 pieces and give this nation back to its people. Where'd you get that quote?
If I told you, I can put it up on my website, because I plan to do some notes. We're going to put up this broadcast with your permission, Barry, on my website.
All you want. And talk to my producer, Nick. Maybe he'll be nice to you, and you can put it on your website.
That would be great. And then I just plan to fill in with the notes these things that I couldn't just answer right off the top of my head. But I'm not speaking lies at all. These are things that have been said. These are things that have been in print, and I can back them up.
Oh, I've heard them. Also, this is even more famous. Now, the fact that Kennedy, he coined the term New World Order in this speech on your website. And it's been noted, all right? But Eisenhower, he went even farther. Now, you've got to, now slowly but surely, explain what President Eisenhower did to this cabal.
Well, President Eisenhower was always a pawn of this cabal, way back in World War II. I mean, between him and Winston Churchill, they prolonged that war for years, something that should have been over much quicker. And everybody knows that famous general that was just rampaging through Europe, and they tried to stop him. They took his gas away and everything else. And finally, after the war was over, he was gonna tell on him. And,
he did tell on them.
I think it did get out, yes.
No, he made an announcement. He warned the nation against the military-industrial complex. What are you talking about? He actually spat it out.
Yes, he did. Finally, he did. But this general in World War II, Patton, that's the one I'm talking about. They tried to stop him because the people who make a lot of money off of weapons and everything else didn't want this war to end quick. All right, we're going to go over to Africa, and we're going to go over to Italy instead of just hitting where it is and get it over with. That don't make people super rich. And Eisenhower was just hand in glove with these guys, making sure that that's the way things took. It took so long. Winston Churchill, you can check this out. He is a Druid witch. He was a Druid witch.
A Druid witch.
Yeah.
All right.
And just like the present Archbishop of Canterbury, a Druid witch. You can check that out on the web, and I'll put it up on my
and
site.
Is that a bad thing?
Oh,
what
absolutely.
does a Druid witch do?
No, they're all into human sacrifices and all sorts of other horrible, terrible things. They're Satanists. There's no doubt about it. And that's who's been running things.
I assume we are now talking about who is at the core of this cabal of outlaws.
Yeah, these are basically the real tools, the real enforcers of these outlaws who, run things. You take a look at all these financial houses, and that's what really gets me. Morgan Stanley and all these other ones, and they just interlock with the president's core of people that they have around him. They just play interlocking things. Even Obama, he's got a whole bunch.
Even
of people.
Obama?
Yeah.
Meaning that everyone before him was okay, but even Obama? I'm not sure what you mean by that.
Well, basically, you think Obama would be totally against capitalism and the money and stuff like that.
I think people have wised up that he was a terrible president at best. All right, at best.
On a good day, he was terrible. But on this way, they really run things. They really run things. Look, when all the mortgage firm went belly up back in 2008, and they said, "Oh, we got to bail things out. We gotta bail out these
that
big."
Would be what, Lehman or Bear Stearns?
Lehman.
Right.
And we gotta fortify these guys, and we can't let them fail, because if they fail, the country will fail. What a bunch of BS! I'm sorry. What about all the people holding mortgages that lost their houses? How about bailing those people out? No, we bail out who? The rich. Duh. It's just a total joke.
I think what you're saying is, all right, here's your quote: "The elite have taken over our government and now reign by sheer terror." I would say sheer deceit.
That's true. But if you're in government, it's by sheer terror. You don't dare expose them. You never point them out. You're always pointing at each other. Oh, the Democrats did this, the Republicans did that. Oh, they're so bad. And they won't really point at who's really running this world. That is verboten. You will not do that. There you had that over in Israel there with the CFR guys. You just lost your life.
You actually sent me something, and I think I turned it down. You said you had knowledge about Israel that I should know about. What were you talking about?
I'm not quite sure.
All right, leave it be then. I have taken the time to see Netanyahu is no different than left and right. It doesn't really matter. Ultimately, the country will be driven into, via Holocaust or not, it's in big, big trouble.
Oh, yeah, right? I agree. And they're just sitting out there. Period. And way back in World War I, there was this English lord who was part of this secret cabal who proposed that Israel should have their own country. And that didn't happen in 18, but it happened after World War II with the help of the United Nations, which is another organization of this New World Order conspiracy. And it's been nothing but friction ever since they've been there. And, I don't think they care how many Jewish lives they sacrifice for their own ends.
Give a damn about that.
Yeah,
the real problem is when you get your leadership and the people think they are leading them, there's where the trouble is. The deceit is at a very high level.
It is sad. I like my friend Carolyn Hamlet. She has a blog spot too, but she says, it's not an election; it's a selection. It's a selection. They already know who they've selected for the next president, and we think we're.
What are you? What a truly. It's a joke of an election.
Yes. Yes.
No. I mean, it's really outstandingly a joke. You've got clowns running for president.
Exactly. You took the words out of my mouth. The major clowns showing up on Saturday Night Live.
That was about the best thing I've seen. Look, if you put Bozo up for election, somebody would vote for him.
Actually, Bozo might do a lot better than these other clowns. He might actually be a real person rather than these other guys that are just going through the motions.
When people tell me they watch the Democratic debate, and I said, what are you wasting your time and mine by telling me this for? All right.
Yeah. It's totally staged, and it's there for entertainment. We're gonna think, oh yes, we're doing something here. We're gonna be voting our own people in, and number one, all these guys up there are the ladies are hand selected. You don't get to that position unless you're somebody that's been approved by the cabal. So they don't care who gets in, really, because they all have been already pre-approved.
Well, somebody in the name of democracy has exposed Hillary's emails, private emails, Benghazi, all kinds of stuff that normally would knock her out of contention. They've been out there, and she's still in contention. She's going to win, probably.
Well, so we've been hearing the FBI has all this stuff on her emails, and they're going to be bringing criminal charges. I guarantee you, Hillary's not going to jail. I guarantee you that's not going to happen. It just won't happen. I don't care how much dirt they got her, and they got dirt on all of them. Bad.
Oh, not like the Clintons. The husband...
All right, they excel.
All right, he was not good to women. All right, I mean, really at a high level, he was almost impeached over just one a piece of. How do we say this on this show? It doesn't matter.
He did not have sex with that woman. All right. A tainted garment.
Look, the fact is, she should be nowhere near the presidency of a major important country. But Trump, again, it's a show election. Everybody's having fun.
Oh, everybody's captivated. Everybody's thinking about all this stuff. And once again, we're not looking at the real monsters that run this planet, that run us, that we have to contend with all the time. And we're one of the last free countries in the world.
I wouldn't
go
that far.
Okay, I won't go that far.
Very kind.
But we're part of the free world. Yes, the free world is quickly. They're coming up on this big Pacific thing where they're going to have this. All these countries are going to have they're just going to be part of a Pacific Rim. I forget exactly what it's called.
They're going to Paris in 10 days to hear a punk rock band and discuss climate change. Is that what you mean?
Well, that's another one. I mean, they're on a lot of different fronts. But there's a Pacific. They're brewing up a Pacific thing all of these specific nations where the United States will just be part of it, and they'll have to petition them to get things done. They're really going to run the show, and that's coming down the line. And
I don't know what you're talking about, but I'm sure
I'll actually on my website I'll spell it out better because it's been in the news, and I forget exactly who talked about it. But it's out there. It's out there.
All right, give me 1 second while I have it. And I'm trying to make a buck. Let me tell you, people are dying. My people who followed me for many years are dropping dead every month, another one, and I'm getting poor. So, folks, and that includes you, Mike, go to lulu.com, Lulu.com. Just write in the search box Chamish, Chamish. Pick up a book. It's a good idea. I assure you it's a good idea. And my website is barrychamish.com. Give yourself a last plug.
Go to Toxic Sky, that's WI.com, and take a look at what's actually going on. We didn't even talk about Tim Russert tonight. He was going to expose, he did expose both Bush and John Kerry. They're both part of the Skull and Bones, and that's a whole other program, isn't it?
Well, Kerry certainly is.
Yeah, and so is George Bush, both of them. And Russert
is that bad?
confronted them.
Why can't you be a member of the Skull and Bones? What's wrong with that?
Well, you have to trace all the wicked people, including the guy who founded National Review. They're nothing but evil. They're Satan worshiping.
What's
monsters.
his name? Who founded National Review? I actually wrote for them. I had a major article. What was his name?
It'll come to me. I'm sure it'll come to me, but
I can see his face.
Yes.
Oh, my memory
noble
isn't what it used to be.
Yeah, so erudite, and it'll come to me after this program's over.
Well, me and Joel Boehnerman had a major article in the National Review. It caused quite a stir. So I really don't have... I have nothing but good things to say about them. They printed me. Nowadays, trying to get anyone to print me, I'm dirt. It's a real problem now. People are dying off, and who's replacing them is really not better.
Old whistleblowers die hard, and you die hard, okay? You're always one of my heroes.
Oh, thank you. And you know what? Snowden is he's the only whistleblower who actually did blow some... Well, he revealed all the emails from the State Department. Pretty serious whistleblower. So we still exist. There still are a few of us. All right, thank you, Mike. That was a very good interview. Don't lose me. Folks, that's the best I can do on chemtrails. And Mike Skott has a website. Go to it. And we'll see you next Tuesday. I hope the show is as good as this. Thanks again, Mike.